Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 85, entitled Lord Krishna Instructs Vasudeva, and two texts are together, text 55 and text 56. Pitvamritam pasyas tasya pitashesham gadamritaha narayananga samspasa pratilabdatmadashanaha te namaskritya govindam devakim pitaram balam me satam sarvabhutanam yayudama divaukasham. So I'll just read the translation a few verses before, text 52. The translation. Sukadeva Goswami continued, after saying this, Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram, having been duly worshipped by Bali Maharaj, took the 6 sons and returned to Dwarka, where they presented them to their mother. Text 53. When she saw her lost children, Goddess Devaki felt such affection for them that milk flowed from her breast. She embraced them and took them onto her lap, smelling their heads again and again. Text 54. Lovingly, she let her sons drink from her breast, which became wet with milk just by their touch. She was entranced by the same illusory energy of Lord Vishnu that initiates the creation of the universe. And today we did text 55 and 56. So now we'll go to the word for word. You can repeat. Pidva, having drunk. Amritam, nectarian. Paya, milk. Tasya, her. Pita, of what had been drunk. Shesham, and the remnants. Gadha Brita, of Krishna, the wielder of the club. Narayana, of the Supreme Lord. Narayana, Krishna. Anga, of the body. samspasa, by the touch, pratilabdha, regained, atma, of their original selves as demigods, darshanaha, and the perception, te, they, namaskritya, bowing down, Govindam, to Lord Krishna, Devakim, to Devaki, Pitaram, to their father, Balam, and to Lord Balarama, Mishatam, as they looked on, Sarva, all, Bhutanam, the people, Yayu, they went, Dhamma, to the abode, Deva Okasham, of the demigods. Translation. By drinking a nectarian milk, the remnants of what Krishna himself had previously drunk, the six sons touched the transcendental body of the Lord Narayana, and this contact awakened them to their original identities. They bowed down to Govinda, Devaki, their father, and Balaram. And then as everyone looked on, they left for the abode of the demigods. Purport by the followers of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. Lord Krishna remained as an infant with Devaki and Vasudeva for only a very short time. First, the Lord appeared before them in his four-armed Vishnu form, and after hearing their prayers, he changed himself into an apparently ordinary infant for their pleasure. But to save Krishna from suffering his brother's fate, Vasudeva at once removed him from Kamsa's prison. Just before Vasudeva took him away, Mother Devaki suckled Krishna once so that he would not feel thirsty during the long trip to Nanda Vraja. This we learn from the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Om Agyana Atimirandasya Agyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Svapadantikam Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. At one time, in the mid-70s, several disciples of Srila Prabhupada were leaving and going back to the regular material activities that they were used to do before coming to Krishna consciousness. So one of the leaders, they asked Srila Prabhupada, why is this happening? He said is that the problem is that some of my disciples, they do not have a fear for Maya. One of the last visits of Srila Prabhupada to the Bhakti-yoga manor, when Srila Prabhupada was taking darshan of Shri Radha Gokulananda, His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami was standing beside him. And Srila Prabhupada was praying in a soft tone to Shri Radha Gokulananda. And the prayer went something like this, and it was heard by Tamal Krishna Goswami, who was standing next to him. And he was praying, my dear Shri Radha Gokulananda, please don't make me fall down. So this quite surprised Tamal Krishna Goswami. So after the prayer and the devotees dispersed, Srila Prabhupada went up to his quarters on the first floor at the Bhakti-yoga manor, and Tamal Krishna Goswami was quite bewildered and perplexed. And Srila Prabhupada could see that he wanted to speak something. He said, So, Tamal Krishna Goswami said, I heard you praying to Shri Radha Gokulananda that you are praying that you may never fall down. But Srila Prabhupada, you are a personality that will never fall down. So why are you praying like that to Shri Radha Gokulananda? Then Srila Prabhupada immediately rebutted him. He said, that's precisely the point. It's because I'm praying that I will never fall down, therefore I will never fall down. So, therefore Prabhupada made the previous statement which I began with, that some of my disciples, they do not fear Maya. But Prabhupada, with those prayers, is always fearing that he will never fall down. So how does this tie in with today's verse and purport? In the previous chapters in the 10th canto, Srila Prabhupada says, in relation to Mother Devaki, that a pure devotee always fears a material association. I'll repeat his words. A pure devotee always fears material association. So in this respect, Mother Devaki's constant fear of Kamsa not to kill Krishna was practically purifying her. And therefore, that purification is on the basis of, you could say, all the demoniac tendencies or asura-like tendencies of material association would be killed. And therefore the Garbhasuras, they were killed one after another by Kamsa, which is represented by those first 6 sons who was killed by Kamsa. Now, from the mind, Srila Prabhupada says in this purport in chapter 2 in the 10th canto, appears a personality called Marichi. Marichi is a personification of the mind, or Prabhupada says sometimes an incarnation of the mind. And the mind of Marichi as an incarnation, they have 6 sons. And those are famous sons: Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, and Matsarya. That means lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, and envy. So, Krishna appears in the consciousness of pure devotional service. He does not appear otherwise. But when one is not in the consciousness of pure devotional service, then Balaram as the Adi Guru appears first to purify, so that Krishna can enter into the consciousness of a devotee in pure devotional service. So, Srila Prabhupada used to quote Bhaktir evainam darshayati. Darsha comes from the word darshan, and darshan means to appear. So therefore, only bhakti can make Krishna appear in the heart or consciousness of the devotee. So in that sense, Srila Prabhupada says that Devaki symbolically represents bhakti or devotional service, and Kamsa symbolically represents a material fear. When a devotee, and sometimes Prabhupada uses, when a pure devotee fears material association, then one's real position of devotion or bhakti becomes manifested. And when that becomes manifested because of fear of material association, then one naturally is uninterested in material sense gratification or material enjoyment. Prabhupada is very clear in how he says that. So, when the 6 sons of the incarnation of the mind, Marichi, are killed by such fear, and one is freed from material contamination, then within the womb or within the heart of the devotee appears bhakti, and thereafter the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears. So, bhaktya sanjayate bhaktya. That means bhakti only comes from bhakti. There's no other process that can bring bhakti. So the carriers of devotion of bhakti are the devotees themselves. So here, a Devaki's constant fear that Kamsa will kill the 8th child is actually a type of fearlessness to protect Krishna. It seems contradictory in what I said, but it is like that. Yeah. And one time Srila Prabhupada said, this is a great mystery. So after the 6 sons, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, and Matsarya are killed, then the Shesha incarnation, which is Balaram, creates a suitable situation for the appearance of Krishna. And then Srila Prabhupada says, in other words, when one awakens one's natural Krishna consciousness, then Krishna appears. So, in this particular purport, these 6 sons that were killed, as we know the historical context from the previous classes that you may have heard, Krishna himself could have went to Bali Maharaj and brought those 6 sons. But he couldn't do that because he wouldn't interfere with the, you could say, Vatsalya Bhav of Devaki. He wouldn't interfere with that. So when Devaki requested, then Krishna and Balaram went to Bali Maharaj and brought those 6 sons back. Now, in today's translation and purport, it's very clear that, actually in the translation itself, by drinking a nectarian milk, the remnants of what Krishna himself had previously drunk, the six sons touched the transcendental body of the Lord Narayan. And this contact awakened them to their original identities. Now, what does this mean? It simply means that these six sons are not in contact with Krishna as Swami Bhagavat. And they never touched Krishna. But because they came out of the consciousness of Devaki to become purified by her touch and to be sort of killed apparently to regain the original identities as demigods and go back to their original places. So the apparent killing of the six sons was a service to accelerate the eighth child to appear. So by them being killed, they did a service for Krishna to appear quickly. Let his children be killed one after another quickly, then Krishna can appear. So that's a kind of service. But Devaki, being a mother with great affection, she remembered that this is their service, that they were killed one after another so that Krishna cannot be killed. And when they were united again, and Devaki requested for those other children, let them come back. So here in this particular verse itself, it's very clear that when Devaki, you could say, breastfed Krishna momentarily before he could be taken away to Nanda Bhavan in Nanda Gokula, how could just a brief little milk sustain Krishna all the way? But that's the transcendental ideal. And that on a platform of quantity, when we're hungry, we eat sumptuously. But on the platform of bhakti, even something that's meager can fill the Lord. Like that. And then Devaki now was ready to request for six sons to come back. So by them touching in terms of being breastfed by Devaki, because originally Krishna was breastfed by her, they could get their original identities. But they did not touch Krishna. They touched Devaki's breast or chest. And as a result of that, we can understand an important point, that one cannot directly associate with Krishna. One should associate with Krishna through one of his eternal associates, which are Ragatmika devotees. Now, the consciousness of Vasudeva and Devaki to always protect Krishna at the expense of the other children. I'll read something from the 10th canto, the first chapter, text 53, purport. I'll read something before that from verses 49 to 50, purport in the first canto. Vasudeva wanted to save the life of Devaki by promising to deliver his sons to Kamsa. In the future, he thought, Kamsa may die, or I may not beget any sons. Even if a son is born and I deliver him to Kamsa, Kamsa may die at his hands, for by providence anything could happen. It is very difficult to understand how things are managed by providence, unquote. Thus Vasudeva decided he would promise to deliver his sons to the hands of Kamsa in order to save Devaki from the imminent danger of death. So Vasudeva, he wanted to save Devaki because Krishna is meant to appear to her as the mother. at the expense of the other 6 children. So that's Vasudev's consciousness. He was ready to do that. Then Srila Prabhupada says further, in text 53, purport of chapter 1 in the 10th canto, sometimes one must act duplicitously in a dangerous position, as Vasudev did to save his wife. The material world is complicated, and to execute one's duties, one cannot avoid adopting such diplomacy. Vasudev did everything possible to save his wife for the sake of begetting Krishna, which I just mentioned earlier. This indicates one may act duplicitously for the purpose of saving Krishna and his interests. According to the arrangement already foretold, Krishna was to appear through Vasudeva and Devaki to kill Kamsa. Vasudeva therefore had to do everything to save the situation. Although all the events were prearranged by Krishna, a devotee must try his best to serve the purpose of Krishna. Krishna himself is all-powerful, but it is not that a devotee should therefore sit idly and leave everything to him. Now, when Krishna and Balaram were sort of reunited with Vasudeva and Devaki, Devaki wanted to breastfeed Krishna, but now is a youth. But automatically milk flowed from her breast, and Krishna noticed that. And when Krishna noticed that, he sort of asked her, "Are you not feeling well?" She said, "Yes." She said, "I sacrificed 6 sons to save you. Where are they now? Can you bring them to me? So therefore this milk from my breast will not go to waste." See? So if Krishna did not ask this question, "Are you not feeling well?" this wouldn't have happened. So Krishna is so super sensitive to the consciousness of others. But they need to request what they want Krishna to do. At the same time, Devaki, with great hesitation, requested Krishna and Balaram to go and fetch those other 6 sons that were apparently killed. Why? Because how can you take service from Krishna and Balaram? How can you tell them, "Serve me this way"? So with great hesitation. See? And then Balaram said, "My dear Mata, we will do this for you." And immediately when Balaram said that, then the Aishwarya, or the opulent nature of Krishna being the Supreme Lord, disappeared from Devaki. And she said, "Go immediately." Because the sons can serve a mother. But the mother, not in the consciousness of the mother, cannot request the Supreme Lord to do service for her. So this is what happened. And that's it. Then today marks the anniversary disappearance of Bhagavad Swami as well as the Kashishvara Pandit. I'll just read what Srila Prabhupada tells us from the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, chapter 8, text 68. Bhagavad Goswami, a disciple of Pandit Goswami or Gadadhar Pandit, was always engaged in topics regarding Lord Chaitanya, knowing nothing else. And then in a further purport by Srila Prabhupada in the Adi Lila, chapter 12, text 82, Prabhupada says, Bhagavad Goswami, formerly known as Prema Manjari, who serves in Rangadevi's Saki group, was a great friend of Lokanath Goswami, who is Manjari, who constructed the temple of Gokulananda, one of the 7 important temples of Vrindavan. You can go to the temple of Gokulananda. It's when you go to Radharaman, and then further down on your right side is the temple. Now, the Samadhi of Bhagavad Goswami is in the courtyard of the Radha Damodar temple. You can visit there if you'd like to go there today. Then Kashishvara Pandit from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, chapter 8, text 66, purport. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in his Anubhasya, quote, Kashishvara Goswami was one of the contemporaries of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was with the Lord in Jagannath Puri. Also known as Kashishvara Pandit, he was a disciple of Ishvara Puri and the son of Vasudev Bhattacharya, who belonged to the dynasty of Kanji Lala Kanu. His surname was Chaudhary. Kashishvara Goswami was a very strong man, and therefore when Lord Chaitanya visited the temple of Jagannath, he used to protect the Lord from the crowds. Another of his duties was to distribute prasadam to the devotees after kirtan. Unquote. Now from the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, chapter 10, text 138, purport. In the Gaura Ganodas Dipika 137, it is said that the servants formerly named Bringara and Bandura in Vrindavan became Kashishvara and Govinda in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. Jai. You have any comments or questions you'd like to ask? There's 2 hands up, so that hand up went first. We have a microphone on this side there, the brahmachari there. Raise your hand.
Thank you, Maharaj, for a very
Is that Dayamor? No, you're not Dayamor, right? It's gonna face is similar. What's your name?
Bhagavat from Hungary.
Good fragrance. Lavender. Okay, go ahead.
So thank you for the thought-provoking analysis of this last time. What caught my attention is that you said that after
Can you hold the microphone a little closer and try to hear?
after modern Devaki became unaware of Krishna's godhood, he was able to demand service from him and Balaram.
I didn't use the word demand.
Asked,
Requested.
request. And at that time of Sri Rupa Goswami and Sri Sanatana Goswami came to my mind when they received the service from Srimati Radharani in Vrindavan, and they immediately reacted in a way that we cannot take service from Srimati Radharani and from Krishna because they are worshipable objects. And I was wondering about this step, that this caused a bit of confusion to me. How can a devotee who is not aware of Krishna's godhood request service from him?
You know, Srimati Radharani, she's serving you right now, but you don't know. Who can tell us how?
We're allowing it to be approached.
Give her the microphone. Yes, Kishori.
Or just the fact that we're here, we ventured into Braj, and that Srimati Radharani has bestowed her mercy on us and allowing us to do something.
Srimati Radharani is not allowing you. That means she is an authority. She is not an authority. Like if the temple president allows a devotee, he's an authority, but she is not like that. So change your word. You're doing good, change your word.
She's engaging us, she's bringing us to Krishna.
Yes. In other words, Srila Prabhupada used to say in different places that we cannot directly serve Krishna. So when we serve, then eventually Srimati Radharani offers our service to Krishna. So give him the microphone back. So would you tell Srimati Radharani, don't offer my service to Krishna?
Yeah.
Does that answer your question? But you're not telling Srimati Radharani directly, please serve me. That's not the way. That's called demand. We don't demand. We don't demand, we don't command. We just attract. So when Srimati Radharani is attracted to us by our sincerity in our service, despite my fallen condition, then that's okay. Is that all right? The microphone here. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Rupanuga Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, thank you so much for your class and all this. Maharaj, the translation said that after having drunk the remnants of the milk of Lord Vishnu, then having touched his body, and offering obeisances to Lord Bhagavan, Vasudeva, Devaki, and Lord Vishnu, they went back to being demigods. So my doubt is, why were they not delivered rather than being sent with being a demigod?
Can you repeat the question?
They were privileged to have drunk the remnants of the milk drunk by Lord Krishna.
Yes.
And after that, they touched the body of Krishna and they offered obeisances to Vasudeva, Devaki, Lord Bhagavan, by Krishna. And yet, they were sent back to be demigods as opposed to perhaps delivered. That's my question. How come?
The demigods are devotees. The demigods are devotees. But they did not touch the body of Krishna. Get to the translation. Where's our man? Where's the devotee with the screen? Okay, I'll just read it. By drinking a nectarian milk, the remnants of what Krishna himself had previously drunk, the 6 sons touched the transcendental body of the Lord Narayan, not Krishna.
I thought at that time,
And this contact awakened them to their original identities. So, when Devaki first allowed Vasudeva Krishna, or the form of Narayan, that entered into, that transformed into a small baby to suck a breast before Vasudeva took to Nanda Bhavan. And that's not Krishna. That's Vasudeva Krishna, or Devaki Nandan. So she had a bit of a understanding that this is the Supreme Personality of God that will come to kill Kamsa. We okay so far? Yeah. Now for the demigods, Narayan is the Istadev, not Krishna. Does that answer your question?
Sorry, I just meant Krishna and Vasudeva, which I understand that in Dwarka or in Mathura, is Vasudeva, which I understand that. My point was that he touched him and offered the witnesses to these people, personalities.
It touched who?
As you said, Vasudeva is Lord Narayan, but that means Vasudeva Krishna. And then it says,
You see, the demigods are not in Goloka Vrindavan here.
my question is basically,
They touched the body of Narayan through drinking the milk of Devaki.
yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Okay, just like if somebody, just like if you get a devotee who is your friend, who touched his hand and touched Prabhupada, you understand? And you noticed it. And immediately, when that hand of the devotee touched Prabhupada, and then you'll say, hey, give me your hand, touch my head. So it's good as touching Prabhupada indirectly, but not directly, because it touched like that. So that's what is meant in the verse.
Anyway,
It's called a Tadiyanam Samachanam. Tadiya means things, items related to Vishnu, Krishna. So they touched the breast milk of Devaki, who was feeding Vasudeva Krishna in the form of Narayana. That's what happened. Because the demigods are connected to Narayana. They're not connected to Krishna. Otherwise, why were at the past time when Brahma stole the cow and poison Indra, brought the Samvartaka clouds here, because they saw that this boy can't be God. Narayana is God.
thank you very much.
Clear?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you.
Okay, Kishori has a question. You have your hand up there? Okay, well, and there's another hand in the back. Okay. Yes,
I have so many questions, Maharaj.
let's keep it to one and ask the simplest one.
Okay, so this one.
Because Krishna consciousness is simple, but not easy.
Okay, so let's go with. You said that the pure devotee, the purpose of pure devotee has a deep fear of Maya, and then you said that, but
Now that's what Prabhupada said, but in it, Prabhupada says the pure devotee always fears material association. Same thing in another way. Go ahead.
and then you added that, but in that same fear, one can become fearless. So can you expand on how we can be very fearful of Maya, but not be overwhelmed by the material energy and fear? Because sometimes you see devotees in a lot of fear, like living, like if I'm getting sick, or there's various fears that still seem material.
One has to come to the realization that the propensity or the proclivity that one can fall down at any time, that's the fear. So the greatest fear for a devotee is to not lose one's Krishna consciousness. See? But the proclivity to lose it, because as Srila Prabhupada said, spiritual organization in the material world, very, very, very difficult proposition. See, one fully realizes that I have a tendency to fall down at any time. That gives you the fear of not leaving Krishna consciousness. And in that fertile soil of the consciousness of feeling fallen, you invite bhakti to grow. That's what it means. Yes. then you become fearless in the sense that, Krishna is there and I'm engaged in devotional service. But you're fearful that you may lose that. And that constant fearfulness of losing one's Krishna consciousness will make you fearless not to lose it. Should I repeat that? Is it digesting?
Yeah. But how not to mix the material fears?
This is not material fear. One fears material association.
Yes.
One fears,
Serious.
not material fear. Prabhupada says one must fear material association. Material association outside of you and is inside of you in the mind.
But sometimes we find devotees very skeptical of everything. Like,
one second. Let's respect devotees in their absence. Talk from a personal perspective.
Like, for example, I don't trust the doctors. I will not listen to what the doctors are saying because they're Maya and they're...
No, that's not correct. That's not correct. You have to know that electricity can make the fridge cold and make the stove hot. So you have to choose how you deal with that. Have I answered your question? You think about that.
Yes.
Let's pass the microphone to this devotee on this side. When you want to use the stove, then you switch it on. When you want to use something from the fridge, then that's already on. So you decide how to use that to your favorability in terms of serving Krishna. Like Srila Prabhupada used to say, quoting from one of the previous acharyas, maybe Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says the mother will give a nectarian juice to the child. See, but when the child gets sick, the mother will give a neem juice. Is something wrong with the mother? No. So similarly, you have to know how to differentiate of what energy to use in what favorable situation in relationship to favorability in Krishna consciousness. Okay. Prabhu, what's your name?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, number pranam. My name is Vrindavan.
I should have brought my danda, then you'll say Maharaj. What's your name?
Venkatesh.
Jai.
So, like he said that we can only approach Narayana, we touch Narayana only. And we can reach only the abode of demigods.
Are you telling me something or are you asking a question?
I'm asking a question.
What is the question?
When in Kali Yuga, all can approach only Narayana, they can reach only abode of demigods. How they can reach Krishna's abode?
You have a nice beat bag, right? So what mantra do you chant?
Pardon?
What mantra do you chant with the beats? Say loudly. Say.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare.
It's not Ram, it's Rama. Say it again, only you.
Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram, Ram, Hare Hare.
Perfect. Everyone together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Is that okay? I've answered your question. It's good. What should we do? Take one more question? Where's management? We'll take a question from the Mataji's side and then we'll conclude for today. There's other hands up, but we want to balance. Yes, Draupadi Rani. Yes.
Maharaj, would you please expand on the six...
Hold it close.
Maharaj, would you please expand a little bit on the six suns and connection with the mind? Like, how...
Yes. If expand means the answer will take very long.
To make it
A little bit. Okay, then that's my conclusion. So Srila Prabhupada says in the Mukunda Mala Stotra, Mantra 31, and in other places, and he quotes from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 1, text 14, and the verses Apana samshritim goram yannama vivasho grinan tata sadyo vimuchyata yad bibhiti swayam bayam. So these 6 sons are representing lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, and envy. Got it? Okay. And then Prabhupada says here, with the same verse, quoting the verse, living beings who are entangled in the complicated meshes of birth and death can be freed immediately by even unconsciously chanting the holy name of Krishna, which is feared by fear personified. And then Prabhupada says further, also chanting the holy name of Krishna destroys the 6 mental enemies: lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, and envy. So these 6 enemies, which are the children of the mind, they reside in the mind. Fortunately for us, we are not the mind. And you have to have that constant realization that you are not the mind. And you do not reciprocate or respond with these 6 enemies. And the only way, Prabhupada says, is to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But that is not sufficient. That is not sufficient. What is more important is to prepare your hearing. Is to prepare Shravana. Just like when you want to plant a seed in the ground, you have to prepare the soil and then put on the fertilizer, then you plant the seed, and that is the kirtana. But Shravana means to prepare to hear. If you just chant without preparing your hearing, then the 6 enemies which are in the mind will always distract you not to hear. So therefore it's Shravanam first, and then Kirtanam, then that will enter into the Shravanam and enter into the heart, which is Smaranam. So remembering is the simplicity of the language of the heart, which comes from Shravanam through Kirtanam. So you have to prepare the hearing. If you don't prepare your hearing, when Prabhupada gives a consolation, he says, even by unconsciously chanting the holy name, which is feared by fear personified, there may be some, you can say, some benefit, but the full benefit is to first prepare your hearing, and then everything changes. See? Is that okay? Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Gori Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Antaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Shri Vrindavan Naam ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,